Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's time for Three Guys Before the Game. The gang is assembled. It's Sunday morning as we record, and we will recap West Virginia and UCF. This is episode number 667. Rough day in the Sunshine State, one could say. We'll get into it. Three Guys brought to us by GoMart. Get yourself one of those GoMart rewards cards. Download the app immediately. Start racking up points to save on food and fuel. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. If you haven't taken your boat out today, at least here in Morgantown, it'll be a wonderful day to be on the lake. It's gorgeous out there.
Yesterday was the day. I think it's going to rain today.
It is later.
That's later.
Got to get in early.
All right.
Since this is a podcast live, we're alerting you early.
It was nice. Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's biscuit. I could do one right now. Thanks for nothing.
I'm sorry.
Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. Simply won't take no for an answer. They won't take no for an answer. And Spreads on Stats coming up from the Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. All right, so the numbers, a collective ouch yesterday afternoon in Orlando. 45-13. Game was over very early. 14-7 at halftime. So maybe at halftime you're saying, you know what? If you can just kind of just flip everything, you might. Can you get a stop on the start of the second half drive and get the ball and then maybe make a game? The Knights took the ball down, scored on their opening drive to start the third quarter. Then you had a scoop and score, and at that point you could have loaded the bus and proceeded home. UCF outscores West Virginia 31-6 in the second half, wins it 45-13. A just massive gut punch for everyone. Players, coaches, fans, everyone involved in the program. This was the game after you had your bye week. This was UCF's fifth game in a row. So situationally, you were going like, hey, these guys got to be banged. These guys got to be tired. They lost Cam Fancher, who had started the previous week against Cincinnati. You have Taven Jackson. He's got a tender non-throwing shoulder. Maybe
he does.
Non-throwing. And maybe he won't be great. Well, he completes 68% of his passes. He's got a quarterback rating of 149. He throws for 277, 2 touchdowns. And then you've got Jaden Nixon, goes for 116. Anyway, he flew on his score. Mom was a track and field performer at Oklahoma State. Dad played football and ran track at Oklahoma State. And the genes did transfer. He skedaddled.
Yeah.
By the way, one thing I learned there, didn't know this the last time I was there at that stadium. Pretty amazing. Pretty incredible, actually. So at the 50-yard line, where they place the stadium, at the 50-yard line, if you just go straight out of the stadium, straight in line with the launch pad at Cape Canaveral.
Really?
Well, that's a nice little nugget.
And on 3 occasions, I was talking to Mark Daniels, their play-by-play announcer, they've had rockets launched during games. Was it SpaceX, Rocket X, right? He says they just had one Thursday. They just put one up on Thursday.
That's pretty wild.
It's absolutely wild. They lined it perfectly up with the launch pad.
So hence why they embrace that theme. They have those alternate uniforms that follow that path.
Correct. So they launched on us yesterday.
They had some explosives.
Yes, they did. 578 total yards for them, 210 for West Virginia. Historically low passing, 79 passing yards for the Mountaineers. 11 of 28, that's a 39% completion. And I don't want to get into spreads on stats, but there's just some numbers that hit you square damn in the face. And now you are just into a major regroup mode here and no time to think about it because you've got the Frogs of TCU coming in. They just slapped Baylor. It's homecoming. and you still have a trip to Arizona State. You got a trip to Houston. You got the Texas Techs here. Throw in the Colorados. It's for real. Rich Rodriguez at halftime said, we stunk. We stunk in the first half. No one would disagree. And then he did say in his post-game press conference, low point. And that's exactly what I said during the broadcast. I said, this is the rock bottom low point right now. Time now for Hoppy's obvious observations. Brought to us by no one.
The Mountaineers and the officiating chain gang had a bad day yesterday.
Oh, jeez. Those poor buddies. Those poor buddies.
Tony, I had to laugh. Anyway, Tony, there's a saying, the truth will set you free, but first you're going to be miserable.
Okay.
So the truth is that this team, if it continues the way it is continuing, is incapable of winning any remaining games, or, based on how they played yesterday in the last couple of games, particularly yesterday, incapable of being competitive in future games. Now, that's a painful truth, and you can accept it and have no expectations for the rest of the season, or you can be in denial, which will just lead to, I think, even more pain and more disappointment. I worked up optimism, as you know, during the off week. Mm-hmm. I think Brad was kind of quietly trying to temper me, but I worked up optimism. I thought off week, there's some things working in your favor here. You got time to get healthy, you got time to get ready. And the most disappointing thing, and I was wrong. I was completely wrong about that. The most disappointing thing is they got worse. They got worse after the off week. And look, in defense of these you talked about the passing yards. Army had 37% more passing yards yesterday than West Virginia on 7 pass completions. Army, okay? Now, in fairness to these quarterbacks, I do want to mount a little bit of a defense. They're young guys. They haven't played very much. Fox and Wilkins, they haven't played very much at all, and they're getting zero help. They're getting no help in any aspect of that offense. Maybe Gallagher a little bit, but not getting any help. Certainly not from the offensive line and not from the defense. So what is the hope? Well, Coach Rich Rodriguez, this is his quote. We didn't do anything well. We looked slow, out of position, missed tackles, didn't block, had 2 holding penalties on draw plays. That should never happen. Poorly coached, poorly executed, poorly played, poorly everything. I'm hoping this is the bottom. I'm hoping this is the bottom. So your hope is, you're not hoping realistically for a win or to be good. You're hoping this is as bad as it gets. You're hoping it doesn't get worse. And Tony, as always, I listen to you and watch the game. It is hard to watch. It's hard to listen to because, and I was looking as I was watching the game yesterday and listening to you, I was searching for new words to describe what was going on. For the offense, I came up with futile, meaning incapable of producing meaningful results. You watch that offense and you just say, they are incapable of producing results. Futility. Defense, permeable, porous, almost 600 yards given up. Overall, I came up with dispiriting. It breaks your spirit to watch this team and listen to it on the radio. It is dispiriting. And being a fan is so much about spirit. And this just saps your spirit. It saps your soul. And where's this team fit historically? The 2001 team was 3-8. The 78 team was 2-9. And this team is on course to be 2-10. So this team, at this juncture, is headed toward the worst record of the modern era. And the modern era, I think, from 70s on, I call it the modern era. So based on what this team has done this season and what you've seen in the last couple of games, you should have zero expectations going forward for the remainder of this season. And that is the truth. And that makes you miserable, but that's the truth.
No, I mean, I think you're spot on. Yep, spot on. I mean, I'd love to say the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's not as bad or it's not as good, right? We always say it's somewhere in the middle. I did wonder. I did wonder last night after the game was over, if you had all of the players you thought you were going to have, Jaden Bray, Nico Marchiol, Ty Edwards, Jaheim White, if you had, I was just wondering, like, what would that game have been if you went in there with your full, I don't know if you win, but it would be significantly different. You're playing with quarterbacks that started the year 3-4 on your depth chart. You're starting running backs that were 3-4 on your depth chart. Bray, huge loss, because now everything can go to Cam Vaughn as far as coverage goes. So as the saying goes, you got to do it with what you have, and no one's going to feel sorry for you.
Hoppy covered most everything there. It's just, guys, it is hard to watch. Offensively, you've become so one-dimensional. And if you're going to be one-dimensional, you better be elite at that one dimension. And we've seen West Virginia, when it was rolling, do that, right? You didn't have to be concerned about the passing. You knew West Virginia was going to run it, but you couldn't stop the run. And this is really tough. That's all you're able to do. Your passing game has totally gone away. And part of that's, Tony, what you said. There is some injury issues there to take into account, but you can't protect long enough to throw it. You don't have enough receivers to create space. There's not getting any space, Hop. The quarterbacks are young and struggling to recognize defense and find guys open, and they're throwing into traffic. Even when they are throwing, there's no space to operate. And then defensively, guys, I continue just to be really surprised at where this defense is gone. Now, you got a little life in the second quarter there. As you mentioned, you thought, okay, defense held them to no points right there. You missed that field goal that could have made it 14-10. Would that have mattered? Ultimately, it didn't look like it did because of what they did in the second half. But this defense that, again, showed you some promise against Pitt. Never mind what you did in the other two games. Set those aside. But at least against Pitt, who's a competent offense, to then give up 40 in every game since, and to the UCF team, all due respect to them, and I'll get to some of the numbers. Some of the stuff we talked about Thursday was absolutely what happened to you. But my gosh, to just, again, have guys running wide open through the secondary there, to not be able to get any pressure again, for what is now the fourth straight week in Big 12 play, quarterback not uncomfortable for any moment. Just could do whatever. Started, 15 of 20 back there?
It was like 7-on-7 for him.
Yeah.
Did not need to wash his uniform. Never got touched.
And that has just been a surprise to me. I did not think that was the case. I knew we weren't looking, Hoppy, at the 96 defense, but I thought it was a defense that was going to keep you around in some games at least, and it just hasn't been the case. So just struggling on, obviously, both sides of the ball just tremendously. This has been a tough watch, no doubt.
So Fred Perry out with an injury. Hammond Russell, your nose guard, out with an injury. Again, in a group and on a group that can't afford no losses, right? You're taking guys away.
And you're losing your best players.
Yeah, you can't. There's no margin for error, and then you take those guys out. And what their status is remains to be seen. But guys have been obviously getting whacked around. So, yeah, this is it, man. This is tough. And you just gotta endure this, and we'll get into the textual healing stuff coming up in a little bit. But just jump ahead 5 steps and call the season right now and start to talk about recruiting. This is perhaps the most important evaluation and recruiting cycle that we could ever think of, because you're going to get one chance to fill it up here, and if you don't hit correctly, you won't be a whole lot different going forward.
Yeah, we've said this a couple times, and I think that's the double disappointment on top of the disappointment of not getting wins, is you would at least like to see moving forward, whatever that number is. If that's 5, if it's 10, if it's 11 guys that you can look at and say, okay, but next year at least they have another year of experience. You add some people to it. That's what you're searching for. That's been hard to find at this point too.
Yeah.
You need some guys that you hope are returning that can at least stand out here a little bit, and that's been few and far between at this point also.
Spreads on Stats is coming up. 3 guys brought to us by Gomart. You ever been to a Gomart, Brad?
Yeah, by the way, I got my schedule back. Triple points yesterday.
Awesome.
Well done.
Well, here's something else you need to know about Gomart. If you have a Gomart Rewards card or the app, Keebler Crackers right now. I said Keebler Crackers. Buy one, get one. Moon Pies, 2 for $1.59. Frito Munchie Crackers, 99 cents. That's not a snack deal. That's a snack miracle. Visit the Gomart app. Go to gomart.com. You can download the app wherever you have it. Gomart, and as Brad said, triple rewards points on Saturdays. And as I said earlier on, boating season winding down, but that doesn't mean that the folks at Lou Wendell close their doors. Not at all. If you need your boat serviced as you take it out of the water for the coming year, or I think you could go in there and be sneaky quick, get yourself a heck of a deal on a boat.
What are you saying?
At the end of the season, you go in now, they want to get rid of those boats. They got the new ones coming in, right? 26s are coming in, I would think. Go in there. Why? Because they're the premier pontoon boat dealer in the state. They sell all kind of motor boat craft, 40-plus years in business, award-winning. That's them. Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. They are our buddies.
Tony, when your best offensive player is Oliver Straw, you got a problem.
Our guy Ollie did have a nice game.
Well, he thought it was Australian rules football.
It was great.
That one time he just took the ball.
Fake punt was great. Great decision.
Yeah.
Had a long of 61. Put a couple down there, one inside the 5.
Did a nice job.
You put it inside the 5, and they drive 98.
Now, Ollie would agree with this. I mean, when we're talking about Ollie as the bright spot in the punter, then it's probably not been a very good day. I mean, he would understand that.
I had a post-game meeting with his dad and with Oliver before we got onto the bus. Little surprised his dad was there.
Why were you surprised? He's a global
because
traveler.
West Virginia resident.
Well, I was told, right, that they were going back. Last time we had seen them, they were going to go back to Australia.
Right. Where's back for him? I mean, he's
he's got a house in Australia, so I see him there. I said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, I got a great flight to Canada. I said, "Wait a second." I said, "Where were you?" He said, "I was in Sweden." He said, "I was in Sweden, but I just started looking and I found a great flight to." I said, "Where in Canada?" "Montreal." So then he flew Montreal to Orlando just so he could see the game.
As you do.
Yeah. And this is how good of a guy he is. He was bummed out Oliver punted so much. He literally goes good day for me is he doesn't have to go out there because that means the offense is going.
Yeah, they know.
I told Oliver, I said, you lettered in this game by how many punts you had. So
that was, I mean.
He said to say hello. Anthony did.
He's a great guy.
He's the best.
International spy.
Yeah.
Great to see him. He's not an international spy.
Well, you don't know that.
I don't know about that.
Could be.
I don't know about that. The fact that he says he's in the greeting card business, is just totally a lie. So I don't think you can go whatever you want on that.
Tony, how was your experience? I mean, you have to call the game, and you do a tremendous job of being a pro, but also letting your emotions be evident to a degree.
Yeah.
And that third quarter was hard, man.
It's rough, man. You go into that second half, I mean, you said, okay, let's see. Get a stop.
You're hanging around.
Yeah, you're hanging around. Just kind of see, can we ugly this thing up and get an interception, get something.
Defense looks like it's stabilized.
Yeah, can you get something going? Yeah, it's very, very difficult, obviously. I mean, the reality of it is, we're not used to this. And
it feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. This is not us. And it'll get better because, to be quite honest with you, I don't think it can get much worse. So it'll get better.
But I agree, but you have to go back to what Rich Rod said. He's the coach. I hope this is the bottom.
No, you can't get worse.
You can't?
No, I don't think you can get worse.
Okay.
You just complete less than 40% of your passes.
Well, and guys, I mean, that was a game that you could look across the sideline. All due respect to UCF, but they're also in year one with Scott Frost and trying to rebuild. That is one where you did look across after a bye week and say, okay, I mean, this is reasonable to expect. We're in this game with a chance to win it. I know it was on the road, but the fact that it looked like that, I think that's what was such a gut punch.
What stood out to me is, and this no surprise because of where they're based. I mean, their skill players, their receivers, they have dudes. I watch their tight ends warm up without their gear on. So in pregame, when they just have before they put their gear on, I mean, they're large, athletic human beings, and they're receivers. They have much better skill right now than West Virginia does. They're faster. They're more athletic.
The speed is the thing that's jumped out to me. And Rich has said that from the beginning, the need to get faster. That's going to be a massive priority in the offseason. That was really evident yesterday, I thought.
And you saw, Brad, when early on, when Fox started, and they know, West Virginia knows you can't protect the passer. So they were rolling them out. But where was What was UCF? They had guys that's like up in his grill right away.
All right, let's do this.
So I checked the numbers.
All righty.
Just go right to the numbers. Here comes the heater.
Do you want these numbers?
Let's jump into
Well, I want to
the
see. Yeah, I want to see what it says.
portion of the show.
Not really, but I want to see what it says.
5, 4.
Kind of like when the doctor brings you into the office and says, "Okay, here come your test results. Do you want to see this?" No, not really. But anyway. All right, Spreads on Stats is brought to us by the good folks at the Conley CPA Group. They are an accounting firm that does much more. Their value goes way beyond the numbers. Complete service public accounting consultation, helping businesses throughout the state for 40 years. They're local, they're experienced, they know how to help you. You can outsource your accounting with them. They'll take care of it, plus your CFO services. That's a deal. All right. Of all the times you've ever done Spreads on Stats, is this one of the all-timers?
This will just be one of them, boys. I feel like I'm saying this more and more this year, but you don't need what I'm about to tell you to know what happened during that game. This is one of those games where the numbers will just illustrate what you saw happen yesterday. But let's, as we always do, let's try and revisit what we talked about Thursday or Wednesday, whenever the heck we did the preview show,
Wednesday,
going into this game. One of the first things we talked about, Hoppy, was the concern with UCF speed,
right,
and guys on the outside and explosive plays. You felt like if you could make them drive the field, as they did against Cincinnati, they had a tendency all year to shoot themselves in the foot. Just don't give up explosives.
They gave up explosives.
That was a good theory. It did not come to fruition. This was a little bit of a wow, guys, even if you were watching or listening to the game. UCF had 418 yards of offense on 15 big plays. What stat broadcast constitutes as big plays? Passes of 15 yards or more, runs of 10 yards or more.
Say that again.
418 just off big plays.
On 15 plays.
That is breathtaking, to use your word that you use occasionally. 418 on 15 big plays, almost 30 yards, a big play there. That's
28
devastating.
yards, 28-yard average.
And we had talked, I went through it on Thursday, some of their ranks in plays of 70 yards or more, 50 yards or more, 40. I mean, that's how they've had success. And Hop, conversely, I thought these numbers showed exactly where this game was and the problems that West Virginia's had. What I just said about having to drive the field or trying to drive the field, and eventually there's a mistake that's made, that's been West Virginia's problem. The explosives haven't been there, and they haven't shown an ability to be able to walk down the field. West Virginia had 81 yards derived from 6 big plays. 418 to 81 just off explosives. So right there, I don't know that you need to say anything else. If I just told you that this morning, you would have said that's probably a convincing UCF win. So that was one of those that was a kind of a wow. And then it backs up this wow. As much as I watched that game and just thought defensively, man, what is going on? And the big plays lead you to think that way, right? When you just see guys running in space and running by you and you feel like the defense isn't doing anything. But how about this, guys? If you take the explosives out of the game, which you can't, I get it, UCF had a negative EPA per play, a negative expected points added. So the bulk of that game was decided simply on their explosive plays. When they had to run every other play, it wasn't always successful for them. In fact, it was more often than not a negative expected points added on that play. So that was one. Explosive plays, game, set, match, just off that category. Keep going. Let's do a couple more of these. We talked about third down would likely be a key because neither team had been good in that situation. Well, both lived up to their reputation. Neither were good. West Virginia just 3 of 17 on third down, 18%. The Mountaineers gained just an average of 1.9 yards per play on third down. Just clearly not good enough. UCF wasn't much better, 5 of 16, 31%. They did convert those 2 fourth downs into touchdowns, though. So end of drive or potential end of drive plays, they were a little bit better. Talked about the matchup between UCF's rush defense and West Virginia's rush offense. UCF's numbers on paper defensively looked really good. Their pass defense on paper, Hoppy, had been one of the best in the country. Their rush defensive numbers were not great. One of the bottom 30 teams when it came to EPA per rush. And you thought, all right, if there's a game where West Virginia can theoretically run the football here, maybe get something going on the ground, it might be this game. West Virginia couldn't make that hold up. Just 131 total rush yards. But believe it or not, here's another one of those interesting numbers. West Virginia did have a positive expected points added per rush in the game. Wasn't for much, but it was positive. But what didn't you have, Hop?
Well, you can't make third downs. You can't complete a drive.
And you didn't have any explosive plays. That would have been the way to break through that, to bust off a couple big ones, and you just couldn't do it. Shows you the power of explosive plays. UCF had a negative EPA per rush, and yet put those numbers on top of you. Some other just overall numbers that jumped out. I haven't had time to go back and look at this, but I may. West Virginia with just 2.7 yards per play.
Whew.
That's also breathtakingly low. 2.7 yards per play, guys. To put it in context, USC leads the country at 7.89 yards per play. UMass is dead last in the country at 3.98. West Virginia was a full yard behind what's the lowest in the country for the season. Just did not have any plays to move the ball down the field. You mentioned passing game was non-existent, just 78 yards, 7 sacks. Some of those may have been counted as a sack, but maybe it was going to be a quarterback draw as tackle behind the line of scrimmage, but doesn't matter much. 7 sacks, 78 yards passing. Another eye-popping number, that available yards that we've talked about each week. UCF gained a big number again, 65% of the available yards the Knights were able to chew up. To give you some perspective on that, as we've talked this season, Kansas was 51%, Utah 88% of the yards, which is one of the most we've seen in the last 15 years or so for West Virginia. BYU had 67% of the yards, so that continues to be a bad trend. West Virginia averaged just 20 yards per drive. Just 20 yards each time it had the ball. So that was difficult. All right, a couple last things, then we'll move on from this. Again, trying to just drill down in there, and this isn't even trying to find things to be positive, but just I found interesting things number-wise. I know it's hard to believe given the score and how it looked, but West Virginia actually had a better rushing success rate than UCF did. More of their rush plays were deemed successful than what UCF had. Now, neither were good. They were both below the average number, below average, but West Virginia did have some successful rush plays based on that number. The difference in this one, I'll just say it again, explosives really got that game out of control. Some grades real quick. Best offensive grades, Jacob Barrick had the best offensive grade. Malik Agbo, second best offensive grade in there. So it's kind of interesting to see him up there. Some of those came on special teams, I realize, but Agbo up there. Defensively, Chambers, Walker, Eddie Kelly, your top 3. The first 2, Chambers and Walker, really based off their coverage grades, especially Chambers had an elite coverage grade in this one, but he didn't have a tackle. He had 1 assist, so most of those grades coming off the coverage. There's some numbers.
Yeah, those are numbers. Those are numbers.
That yards per play, guys.
Yeah.
That yards per play, that's rough. Again, backs up what you've seen, just the inability to be explosive and just one-dimensional. UCF's able to walk. There were times they had all 11 guys within 8-9 yards of the line of scrimmage. There's just no fear that you can beat anybody downfield and complete some passes so it doesn't create any space in there. Really tough sledding right now.
And no time to weep. TCU on Saturday night, 6 o'clock. And as I said earlier on, they're a team that when they're cooking, they're a good team. They're a good team. They got dudes.
Good quarterback.
Got guys that can catch the ball. They hate Baylor. You know that.
Yeah.
So yesterday for them was a huge deal.
They got delayed in the fourth quarter.
Hoover and their pass offense concerns you a little bit. Again, all due respect to Jackson, but UCF was struggling to find a quarterback, and they just put 323, 65 completion percentage on you in the air. Josh Hoover's going to come in and absolutely look to blow you up deep. One of the best deep ball throwers in the country.
Well, that's what's disappointing about yesterday and Taven Jackson. The word inside the UCF camp is like he does not like to get hit. And once he gets hit, he's not the same dude. But you never really were able to get him. Late in the game, got him like once, pretty good. But other than that, I mean, he had unbelievable protection. He set his feet, stroked the ball down the field. You were just unable to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah,
had you been able to, they had,
his hot start, right, gave him a lot of confidence early. The one big hit I remember at Carrico in the second quarter, delivered one. It led to a 3-and-out. You got the ball back. But outside of that, he basically did what he wanted back there.
Tony, Dwight was saying on the broadcast that with Scotty Fox, again, a young guy, true freshman, and you're worried you're not going to get any protection, and he's not getting time to get his feet set, Dwight said over and over. So he's not doing those fundamentals because he's probably spooked that he's not going to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Yeah, I agree. Just disappointed all the way around. That's the understatement of the deal.
Dispiriting.
However,
what?
On a bright note, the basketballers basketballed. We'll talk about that in a second.
I thought you couldn't talk about that.
Yeah, I did a little investigation on that.
Investigative reporting?
Yeah. The same enforcement agency that can come at you for talking about secret scrimmages, same group of people that will arrest you inside your home for cutting off your pillow tags. Same group. And they're busier than hell with pillow tags. Chances are not going to get arrested for the same group.
Same people?
The same people. So
you're going to throw caution to the wind and
Correct.
Talk about this super secret scrimmage.
And if needed, and if we are arrested for it, you know where we'll go? Jan Dill's attorneys at law. They won't take no for an answer. In all seriousness, I don't know if they've ever done a secret scrimmage case, but we do know that each and every day they focus in on helping folks get veterans benefits and Social Security claims. They have the folks in office that do it on a day-to-day basis. It is quite honestly a difficult journey when you're dealing with the federal government and making these claims. So if you or someone you know needs help filing for veterans benefits or Social Security claims, call them first and let them guide you through the process. They have attorneys and clients in all 50 of our states across the country, and they won't take no for an answer, which is exactly what you need.
Your Honor, Mr. Creedy was doing his job. He was providing information to the public. He was not willing to see that information kept secret.
Yes.
These charges must be dismissed immediately.
And if I do get called into court on talking about the secret scrimmage, I'm going to pay off the judge by giving him or her a Tudor's biscuit.
Oh, nice.
Why not? Tudor's biscuits. You know, there's 70 locations across the most of them are here in West Virginia. You got a few outside of the state, but thousands of West Virginians and others start their day the homemade way with a Tudor's biscuit. But there's so much more than biscuits. That sauce that they debuted this fall has been off the chart success. The sriracha, just like bingo, huh? The honey sriracha, the Carolina Gold, the sweet teriyaki, or just the original. 3 awesome flavors. Get yourself real good food. Someone was just talking to me the other day. Didn't think they could eat one Tudor's. I said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know, man. That's a big thing.
It is big.
It's a big thing. But why don't you give it a try? See if you can do one. Brad and I say in our peak level of food, we could do 2. We'll see. All right, so the Mountaineer basketballers. Shh. This is just among the 3 of us and you, the listener. The University of Maryland may have come to Morgantown on Saturday. They may have gone onto the floor at the Coliseum. Perhaps it is correct to assume that the Mountaineer basketball team was also on the floor at the same time. Perhaps it is true, Hoppy, that 3 officials that work in the Big 12 conference, and for that matter, the Big 10, were also on the floor. And perhaps someone brought out a ball.
Might have been an extra official in the building, too.
Perhaps someone may have brought a ball. And, because they were training?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if there was or wasn't.
Okay. And so perhaps they ran up and down the floor and kept point totals. Is that fair to say?
I think.
All right. So,
I mean, it's out there. There's reporting on it.
There is reporting on that. And it seems as though, like a year ago when West Virginia went in and beat the Wake Forests, that yesterday West Virginia looked really good and had a positive result against the Terrapins from the university. Didn't you used to work in Maryland?
I did. Spent about a little over a year.
Sure. There. What can you – I was in Orlando.
Uh-huh.
Were you in Morgantown?
Yesterday?
Yeah.
I was.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Had a good day yesterday. Full day.
Really?
A lot of things going on.
Were you near the Coliseum?
At different times throughout the day. Yeah, there's a lot of things happening. I would say it went pretty well. If you're a Mountaineer fan, you should be cautiously optimistic about basketball season. Given you have an entirely new roster, no minutes returning, no points returning, no rebounds returning. If you were happen to play another Power 4 team, maybe in your first game or scrimmage session against a team with different colored jerseys, you would probably like it to turn out maybe how yesterday did.
I would think for the coaching staff, because you can practice as much as you can practice, and they've been doing it literally since June, that you just don't know until you go up against somebody else. Like the last time this team of West Virginia really played against someone else was the TBT team back in the summer. They may have had a little open gym when TBT was getting ready to play, so you got a little bit. But that's the only other time that they've played someone that wasn't themselves.
In all seriousness, what it does show you is the way basketball season is able to lay itself out, and some of that's just the number of games you can play Hoppy. This really is a good way to do it.
Yes.
This really is like you've been practicing for a long time. You've heard Ross talk about it. You needed to play against another team. Maryland would have said the same thing to you. Right. They're an entirely new roster in Buzz Williams' first year, so they're bringing their guys in. They had a guy out that will make a difference to their team. But the ability to have a game like that, an exhibition like that, where you can just play in it, and it was a scrimmage. Like, it was not a stop and start and hold on, we're going to do this situationally, or okay, you guys go into zone for a little bit, we're going to work on press. It was a game. It was game-like, as much game-like as you can be with no crowd in there. It's great. Now you have another exhibition coming for West Virginia. Then you start the season with some games that you feel good about. It just lays itself out so much better than what football, the instant pressure cooker you have to jump into with college football.
Absolutely, and what an advantage that is for coaches, because they can now see. I mean, they can see things in practice, but not until they play another team in a game-like situation do they say, okay, now things are clearer, right?
Exactly right. And either way this would have went, if you would have gotten bodied on the glass and not done as well as you wanted to. And listen, there's a lot of teaching moments coming out of that scrimmage yesterday, but I think the biggest thing that comes out of there, I'll give you a couple things. I think if you're Ross Hodge, and when he talks about it, he'll say this. Defensively, you've got some work to do, but you can see that is going to work. Mm-hmm. You've got some guys, including a Jasper Floyd, that, as advertised, really understands this offensive system and how to control pace and can distribute. And oh, by the way, this is a truism. When guys make shots, it seems to make the offense look a little better. And you've got a couple dudes. You've got multiple guys that can make shots. You've got a couple dudes that are absolute snipers. Absolute snipers. That doesn't mean they're going to go out and hit double-digit threes every game. But they're certainly capable of doing that.
And Brad,
are you saying that someone hit double-digit threes yesterday? Is that what you're saying? That'd be a pretty
good game if you had a game that hit double-digit threes. That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Someone could hit 10 threes in one game?
I mean, there's some really good shooters, and West Virginia has one. Happened to lead the country in threes made last year, so I don't know that it would surprise anybody.
10 threes in a game?
If he went out and had a really good game.
You can talk about
eye-popping numbers.
That's out there on social media. And Tony's not worried about going to jail. You can talk about the numbers. You can talk about them.
Trilly Donovan.
You can mention the numbers and the players and the outcome.
Trilly Donovan, who is an absolute must follow on social media. It's a hilarious account. He identifies as a college hoops box score enthusiast and ubiquitous and a mysterious burner account. He reported yesterday afternoon he had a lot of finals from these scrimmages, and one of those included West Virginia. And Donovan reported West Virginia beat Maryland 95-73 in a two-half conventional basketball game. That's Trilly Donovan. It's not Brad Howe. It's Trilly Donovan. And Trilly, in my opinion, is gospel. So that's what you're going to go with. Maybe some other reports on various social media accounts as well that a young man who led the nation a year ago in three-point makes by the name of Honor Huff may have dispersed 10 long-distance jump shots from behind the three-point line, and they scored goals. So that would be a big number. And there may be some reports out there that a young man that was a Three Guys guest named Trayson Eaglestaff, who we had here in the studio. You remember? He was wonderful. Had some big games last year, had a 50, had a 40-point game. He may have deposited a half a dozen three-point markers into the goal as well. And so to say three-point shooting was there yesterday was really, really good. Now, as Brad said, it's never as good as it looks. It's never as bad as it looks. It's always in the middle. And it's just a good start. That's all this is just, okay, you got one done. Now, in a week we'll see Wheeling here, and you're just going to try to get better. Let me also say this, if I may. I said something incorrectly back at the start of football season. When we played Robert Morris, the question was, what can we learn? And I said, the one thing you can learn is not necessarily if you're going to be good if you beat Robert Morris, but you can learn that you're not going to be bad.
You did say that.
I did say that.
You did say that.
Well, you weren't alone in saying that.
Yeah.
And in hindsight now and going forward in the future, I think it doesn't mean anything.
We talk about all the turnover every year, Brad, and how it's you have to get used to new players. I think Honor Huff is going to be a crowd favorite for a lot of reasons.
You don't have to go too far out on your limb with that statement. He's fun to watch. He is literally like a bolt of energy on that floor. He is constant movement. He's constant motion. He's impossible to keep up with. As quick a release as I've maybe seen in all the time I've been doing this, he can really just change the complexion of that offense. If you have a 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in a game, would that be good?
That's good. That's good.
Is that good?
That's very good. And he's got this personality.
That wasn't Honor. I'm saying team-wise, if you had a 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
And he's got this big personality.
Super smiley, easy to like.
Yeah.
And that's his team. There's a lot of guys I think fans are going to rally around, and I think style of play-wise, defensively, how they get after it and guard, you're going to really like. And it was just, to me, I think one of the things that Ross will talk about was the ability the first time you go against another team with no expectations, the way they executed and handled their business, tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
You've got some older guys that have played a lot of basketball. The question with this group is, will it be able to translate to the Power 4 level?
Yeah, keep coming. Because I do think in looking through some of these other Big 12 teams, I do think the Big 12 is up a tick this season.
Really?
There's some talent. There's always talent. There's some real talent. There's going to be some big boy teams coming in. So you'll have your work cut out for you all years. You do every year, but I think this was a very good start for Ross Hodge and company. I think that staff and those players should be happy with how the first data point. That's all this is, Hop. First data point among 35 plus that are coming.
And there's going to be off nights. There's going to be bad nights. And then what's the next question? How do they respond? How's this team pull together?
But I tell you what, that three-pointer just changes the game.
It does.
I mean, you got guys like you can be stagnant offensively. They can be all over you, and then all of a sudden you hit a step-back three or make that extra pass, or you haven't been guarding West Virginia for 27 seconds, and you leave somebody open in the corner for a three, and you knock it down. It just changes the whole complexion of what's going on.
But other teams know that too, and he's not the biggest guy. So will they gang up on him, and somebody else has to, Trayson or somebody else has to make shots.
They do. But I think that's the beauty of this. I mean, I'm pretty sure Maryland knew he led the country in three-pointers made. I'm pretty sure by the 3-minute mark into the game, they realized he could shoot it.
Timeout.
I think they saw probably early, Tony, would be my speculation there, that Maryland understood
early
that they got a shooter. Like, you hear defense, shooter, wherever he's going to shoot her. Like, I think they were couldn't get to him, Hop.
Just to put because fast. When you milk clock offensively and wait for pass up maybe a good shot for a great shot, it's hard to guard at this level for that long for a guy that seemingly never runs out of energy. And so then fine, you want to face guard him? We saw it last year with Joe. You want to face guard Honor Huff? Okay, that's fine. You still got another shooter in Trayson. Chance Moore's a guy that can knock down threes. Jasper was a 37% three-point shooter. Mo is a guy, Morris Ugasuk from South Carolina, can shoot. And by the way, then you got to decide if they're on the same side. You want to face guard out on Honor Huff. Now you've left 7-foot Obioha down on the block by himself with no help, with no ability to dig down. So when you're making shots like that with an elite shooter, you're going to have to make a choice. And that's all you can ask offensively, right? Make the defense make a choice on what you want to do and then try and make them pay for that decision.
You going to outscore people? Is this team going to outscore people?
No, this team will still be driven by defense. It'll still control clock offensively. It'll still guard, and it'll win games defensively. But if you're making shots, this is going to be a team that is going to be really tough to beat. I don't think it's outrageous to say there'll be a team that has more talent, that maybe is better, has a better record, that you're going to go in some night and run them out of the gym because you make a ton of shots on them. You do everything else well, and there's going to be a team walking out of Morgantown going, what just happened to us? How do we just give up 17 threes in that game?
Right. For the record, Maryland is picked to be in the bottom half of the Big Ten this coming season as Buzz Williams begins his rebuild there. They were really good last year. They went 27-9. They went 14-6 in the Big Ten. But I'm just looking at one preview. Hoops HQ has them as number 13 in the 92-team Big Ten conference. Just to kind of give it. West Virginia, obviously, last week was picked 11th in the preseason poll. And one other basketball note, if I may. You know who I ran into Friday night?
Who?
Larry Harrison.
Really?
Yeah. Looks absolutely fantastic. He's really good. Lives in the Orlando area and is scouting for the New York Knickerbockers basketball club.
Okay.
And Southern Scout. So he's got South Carolina down, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. But he's in a really good place.
Good to hear.
Told me he was just recently at Javon Carter's wedding. Got married a couple of weeks ago and is in constant contact with Deuce McBride.
Mm-hmm.
And Deuce has got a nice thing going there.
Yeah.
Deuce's next contract will be his third because he's already got two. And it'll be very, very nice.
Let's see what he's making now.
It'll be very, very nice. Yeah. He could buy a few Tudor's biscuits right now, and then he might be able to buy Tudor's biscuits on his next contract. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Comax Business Systems. They've got every piece of office equipment known to mankind, and right now they've got tremendous deals available on their i12 water cooler. Get away from all that plastic stuff you have to bring into your break rooms or onto your work floor. The i12 water cooler, sleek design meets cutting-edge technology.
Tony Deuce signed a deal. He's got a 3-year deal, paying $13 million. All the money's guaranteed, so he's making $4.3 million a year.
Yeah, it's good. Hot and cold, the i12 water cooler system. You can visit them at comaxwv.com. comaxwv.com.
But it's expensive to live in New York, so I mean.
Yeah, it is. But I think, yeah. I mean, the how this thing plays out in the future for him, I mean, this could be potentially,
free agent in 2027.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of teams are interested in his services.
Are they?
Yes, because he's that perfect glue guy that everyone likes. So, wish those guys the very best. All right, you ready to do a little, I'll tell you about, we'll just do this. Let's just do this. Textual Healing now.
Plus New York taxes.
Parking.
Barely make it. Parking.
Parking garages. Textual Healing is available to you as a public service and is brought to us by episode800.com. Visit episode800.com. We have all of our items there, our apparel, our coffee from Mountaineer Roasting, our popcorn from Mountaineer Popcorn, and everything else and in between. Snow shovels now coming out here with the weather changing, so we're going to get into those as well. Get your Three Guys snow shovel.
No, we don't have a snow shovel.
Yeah, take a look anyway. It might be out there. So a couple of things. Back last week, we had the concert at Red Rocks in Colorado. Charles Wesley Godwin had played there before, but he headlined the show. It was his show. And back in the summer, we auctioned off 2 tickets and a backstage meet and greet at the cancer event that we did down at Stonewall Jackson Resort. And we have some photographs of what transpired this week. Look at that thing.
Boy.
Like the crowd was sold out. It's about 10,000 people. It was a wonderful night. Guy in the bottom right corner, scary stare. He had the CWG there up on one of the big rocks for Charles Wesley Godwin. And there he is. There's Chuck on stage rocking out with the crowd. And that is your buddy right there,
That's
Brett.
Doug Ernst and his wife Jennifer. They were the winners of the auction to fly out and see the concert and do a meet and greet with Charles Wesley
great.
from our event. So thanks to Doug and Jennifer there. That was awesome.
Look at that.
Look at
man.
that crowd.
How'd you like to play there, Hop? Huh?
That's one of the great venues in America. Haven't been there, need to go there. Have you been there?
I have not, but Homeless Dave.
Yeah, Homeless Dave was there.
He went. Homeless Dave went, and he said it was a bucket list item for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so got another photo there. Flip that if you would. So, and these guys, you remember them from, that was our dinner.
That's
Yes.
Brett on the far left there as you're looking at the screen. Brett that was with us, won an auction item from Stonewall 2 years ago, came up with his group, and we had dinner over at the wine bar with Duca, that special dinner we had. And that, what was that wine bottle? What was that called?
That was a double secret Magnum, like quad Magnum. I don't know what the heck it was.
The biggest bottle of wine
biggest
I ever
bottle
saw.
of wine you've ever seen. Looked like something.
So Brett and his family out there as well. And I think, too, I talked to some folks. I think I was the only house in my neighborhood that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Everybody's there. Got a video of him doing Country Roads, how he closes his concerts. Awesome. Charles crushed it.
There's
Crushed it.
Homeless Dave.
Yeah, homeless.
Right, Homeless Dave with the Morgan family were there as well.
Yeah.
So everyone's there. Good to see those guys. They had a great time. Good to see Homeless. Homeless gets a shout out. Very nice.
He sent so many texts. I thought I was there. I mean, Homeless really kept us posted on that.
I didn't
Good
get
job.
it to Jake or Braden there. I had a picture. Our friends Jim and Michelle, Connection 304, they were out there as well.
They were there too?
Parkersburg Brewing, yep, they were there.
Yeah, we were the.
That's what I'm saying. We were the only ones that weren't there.
Exactly.
Everybody was there.
So let's jump into Textual Healing. Here's what I have for you. The theme, as you may imagine, was consistent with disappointment. By the way, of all the text, there was not one curse word.
Excellent.
I thought everyone was on very, very best behavior.
Glad to hear that.
No curse words. So I could do this one of two ways. I could either read the Textual Healing texts, but what I also did is I took all of these, and I have probably like 12 pages of, and I put it into Chat GPT. And I asked the Chat GPT, I said, let me see what I asked. I nicely asked Chat GPT, could you please summarize the attached texts? And so it did, and it brought it back. And I think, to be quite honest with you, it brought it back in a bunch of different categories, and we can kind of riff off of these. Number one category is general mood of the Mountaineer fan base. And ChatGPT says the collective tone is frustrated, fatigued, yet still loyal.
Okay.
Fans are expressing deep disappointment in the team's performance, particularly after the UCF game. But nearly all of the comments reflect continued support for Rich Rodriguez and the program. The feeling is that WVU football has hit a low point, but fans remain emotionally invested and hopeful for eventual improvements.
I think that's an excellent summary. You know, Tony, I have been a Mountaineer fan all my life. I was a fan. I was a student. No, I wasn't a student. 77. Yeah, I was a student in 77. Okay.
So you were here for 78.
So that was bad. I was still a fan after that. 2001, you know, I was still a fan after that. So that's that's the nature of being a fan, isn't it?
Yeah. Next category from ChatGPT, they put a heart emoji with a broken line through it. It's called frustration with on-field performance.
Yeah.
Recurring phrases used by our listeners: rock bottom, worst WVU team I've seen, downward spiral, zero improvement, offense, heavy criticism of the offensive line. One said offensive line is offensive, poor passing game, allergic to first downs, and lack of creativity or rhythm. Next, defense, struggles in the secondary, tackling repeatedly noted, playing hide and seek wide open receivers. The next point, and a lot of people hit on this, is the talent gap. Many noted glaring disparities in athleticism compared to the SEC and Big Ten programs. Several suggested WVU looks like an FCS team. That's a below-the-belt hit. A few said that the team appears to be getting worse each week despite having 6 games and a bye to improve. Next category is called questions about the program's direction. Some argued that this isn't year 0, but year 1, suggesting the rebuild is deeper than expected. Others question whether...
I think it's your
-1.
-1. Your
negative one. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, that's good. And by the way, I'm still not with you on this year 0. I'm not buying into that.
Okay.
Year 1.
All right.
Others question whether West Virginia still belongs at the Power 4 level, given NIL money and recruiting disadvantages. The one thing that I will say is, like, I do see there are occasionally some people saying, like, we'll never be back into the level that I totally emphatically don't agree with that at all. Simply not. And that's not true that West Virginia is going to be way at the bottom when it comes to NIL money. The reality of it is West Virginia is going to be near the top in the Big 12 Conference when it comes to the money that it has available going to market. That's simply not true. West Virginia is absolutely going to be in the top 4 or 5 in the conference, and maybe even a little bit higher. They're going to have dollars to go spend. This thing's going to come down to your evaluation. You cannot miss. You're going to have the opportunity to go get players. You better go get the right ones because you're going to have the opportunity to get some.
I think that's the best point. I think that's the point right there. I think you have resources to go out and be competitive with this group, but that's why I keep going back to how many guys can stick. How many guys can stay here? Because obviously the more guys you have to go get, Hoppy, it dilutes the dollars that you have. So take offensive line just as one position group. How many guys can return that will be able to start the season for you next year? I think that's a critical question going forward here. If that number's 1, then that makes next year even more of a challenge. If that number's 3, okay, then you're in a little better position. I think that's what you're looking for moving forward. How many new starters do you have to go out and get? And then you better make sure you evaluate them right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tony, I agree with that. I think this offseason, and it should be better. You've got a general manager that's been in place now for what will be almost a year. You've got an entire staff that's been in place that understands exactly what it wants. It's a staff that's been looking at its current team knowing, all right, here's exactly where our holes are. So that you would think that evaluation has to get better, but that's critical moving forward.
Absolutely.
Next category is called NIL and talent disparity. Several fans compared West Virginia's resources to the SEC and Big Ten, saying the gap in spending and recruiting power is insane. The NIL shortfall was cited as a root cause of West Virginia's inability to attract or retain high-end talent. Skepticism that a few extra $1 million will close the gap. I do think that when they do this class coming up, there are going to be 3 particular areas of significant importance that they're going to put a lot of money in. Offensive line, defensive line, and quarterback. You have to take care of those items first.
You know, Tony, I suspect this coaching staff knew, at least maybe not knew, but had a reasonable idea what they had because they didn't overspend. They did not overspend. They held back, again, as we have reported, $4 or $5 million. So there's hopefully, some short-term pain there for long-term gain because you didn't want to overpay for a level of talent that you didn't think was commensurate with what you could have paid. Agree?
Yes.
Indiana, Georgia Tech, Virginia, South Florida, all top 20 teams entering the weekend. None of them would be considered blue bloods or with significant resources. Now, there's a ton in the top 10 that you're not going to be able to touch, right? You're not going to be able to touch Ohio State spending, but frankly, you've never touched Ohio State's spending.
Right.
Talked to someone this week who's in the know on this stuff, and they say so much of what's out there and is being accepted as truth is total BS when it comes to the amount of dollars schools are spending.
Oh, really?
They say it's simply not the case. Simply not the case, and that West Virginia will be right there with, the schools that they'll be right there and will not be at a disadvantage with what they're spending. Next category from ChatGPT is called humor, heart, and humanity. Steve from Virginia Beach wrote a comedic, emotional rant comparing West Virginia football to group therapy disguised as a sport, highlighting fan devotion despite repeated heartbreak, the most creative and resonant submission. Jonathan from Martinsburg shared a heartfelt praise for the show, saying it provides laughter and calm after stressful 9/11 dispatch shifts. He's a 9/11 dispatcher. A reminder of the personal connection fans feel. A few others close with optimism and perspective that fandom means enduring the lows and appreciating the eventual highs. The humorous frustration, we run like it's 1993 and throw like we're allergic to first downs. Someone said, we're Rutgers. We're that get-right game. Someone said it takes time to be great. Rome wasn't built overnight. Longtime fan said, been a fan for 70 years. I'll still be here. And one says there is philosophical acceptance and said, quote, embrace the roller coaster. Better times are ahead. The overall takeaway, Hoppy,
Yes.
from ChatGPT,
Yes.
fans see this team in full construction, undermanned, outmatched, still backed by one of the most passionate fan bases. They are disillusioned by the product, yet united by the loyalty and belief that Rich Rodriguez can eventually restore pride to the program.
Well, part of loyalty to is not just loyalty to a particular team or a particular coach. It's what, Brad? It's loyalty to Mountaineer sports. It's loyalty to the university and the state. So there is a bigger picture when you talk about loyalty.
Why'd you shut my mic off?
See,
What?
try and tell you each week.
What?
He always shuts my mic off, blames it on me.
Had a situation Friday night.
Excuse me?
Situation.
What?
You know, you say things in passing sometimes, and some people remember what you say. So earlier this season, they had this event before a Mountaineer game. I think it was before the first game of the year, and there were a lot of Mountaineer fans there.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy comes up to me. I did not recollect this happening, but I was told that I had said it. Long story short, he said, hey, he's a great guy. I mean, Mike and Kim Pouncey, huge Mountaineer fans, live in Orlando. They come up. They're three guys, listeners. I mean, passionate, come to food. I don't remember this, but apparently he said, hey, when you come down for the game at UCF, you know, we're going to have an event at my house, and love to have you guys there. And apparently I said to him, yeah, that'll be great. Make sure the food doesn't suck.
Whoa, jeez.
Yeah, it sounds like something you'd say.
Yeah, it does sound
100%. I'm not denying it at all. So on Friday night, they had an event, Mountaineer Athletic Club. So I went to his house. And first thing Mike said to me was, hey, I hope the food's good because you told me the food better not suck.
Jeez, Tony.
Was it good?
Fantastic. I mean, fantastic. You would have been.
So he lined up, took your nonsense, put it right on you.
Yeah, he did.
He said, you want a little? Come on in.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I had this bar, food bar.
Mm-hmm.
They give you a bowl, like a cereal bowl. They put mashed potatoes in it. And then if you want, they'll give you some like a great mushroom sauce, lay it on top of there. And then they had flank steak. They'd put the flank steak in. They'd give it to you. Then you had other items that you could put on top.
Like some cheese?
Cheese, green onions.
Sour cream, maybe?
Everything you want to put on top of that. And then, so I housed a bunch. The food was fantastic.
You know, if they put a little cherry tomato on top,
Whatever you needed.
They call that a roast beef sundae or a meat sundae.
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. Something like that.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been better.
Meat's nice and tender.
Beautiful house. They just finished it 2.5 weeks ago. Building it for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah. It was awesome.
That's nice.
It was very nice.
And
But I forgot that I had said
I'm
that.
glad you were welcomed there despite your insult.
No, he was a good dude. I also, we worked out a deal where we're going to go to, he says he's got the best steak place in the world. We're going to go there before we play basketball. You're in.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We got that taken care of
Looking forward to that.
as well. All right. The Fighting Dan Stratford's got beat
Yeah.
last night.
2-1.
2-1. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
It happens.
It happens, and when you're on the road, that was they had to go back and that's long travel. 2 weeks in a row, you got to go back and forth down south, and regardless, they'll get back and get going. All right, so next week, West Virginia TCU Saturday 6:00 kick, and then next Sunday afternoon. It's 4:00 that basketball game starts, I believe.
Believe
that
it is.
sounds
Against
right.
Wheeling? Yeah.
Against Wheeling.
4 p.m.
Chris Richardson up there as the head coach.
He is. He'll bring the Cardinals down.
Yeah.
Sure.
What time's that game?
4.
4.
Oh, 4.
Think you could make it?
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have you there. I mean, you've been at practice and everything now. You and Ross are boys. I mean, it'd been nice to see you. Honor probably wanted to see you there.
I didn't know that was public information. I'd been to practice.
Yeah,
but
you were there.
That
That's
was.
fine.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
I was really. I thought it was fantastic, and just so enjoyable to be there. And like, Coach Hodge comes up, hey, how you doing? Glad you came. Like, really? And then I watched him go over film, Brad, and Just was really impressed with his teaching. And then one other point. Can I make one other point? That at the very end of the video session, there was a player coming off the court in the video session, and he gets a towel from the manager, and he high-fives the manager. And Coach Hodge stops the tape and says, listen, you see that? There's the manager, and he gave the manager's name and said, he's handling your sweaty towels. This guy is handling your sweaty towels for you. He's part of this team. Everybody started high-fiving him and yelling. I really, point being, and Tony, you've told me other stories. I just think that I like the culture that he's building around this program. I think it fits perfectly into how we see ourselves as Mountaineers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Brad and I did kind of giggle because it didn't take you long as practice was starting. You know, we were off on the corner there.
Yeah.
And Ross brings the team over across the floor, big monitor. They have a big TV monitor there that they stop practice and watch tape as soon as the play happens so they can see it better. And so Ross brings everybody, goes, come on, over here, let's take a look at this. And Brad, you want to do the play-by-play on that? So our boy Hoppy, like he makes his way over there and is basically stuck himself into the team huddle so that he could find out what was going on.
I wanted to hear. I wanted to see.
Yeah, I understand. No, I understand. Full participation by you at practice. I thought it was pretty good.
It was, and watching his teaching moments, I was giddy.
That was good.
Loved it.
Yeah, that was good.
Should be a fun basketball season. Looking forward to it. Starts Sunday, as you said, a week from today.
Yeah, a week from today. By the way, did you hear anything on the women against the Virginia Techs?
Yeah, they were playing Virginia Tech. Got a bunch of calls yesterday about West Virginia playing Virginia Tech, and it was the women.
Yeah, the women.
No, I did not hear anything.
You didn't hear anything yet? Okay, it'd be interesting to see how that thing went for those guys, because I'm sure Mark's in the same kind of a category where he wants to see what the thing looks like once he puts the pieces
together. That's been
together.
a really good Virginia Tech program.
Yeah, through the years. They've been really, really good. All right, we're done. Time is up. Thanks for being with us. We're back again conventionally on Thursday.
Okay.
Right? Conventionally, we're going to go Thursday. We'll preview West Virginia and TCU.
Coal Rush game that day.
They're going to wear those uniforms. Yeah, it's awesome. That's awesome. Three guys, thanks to our producers. We've got Jake back there and Braden behind the big wall.
Double producing
today.
Double team.
Just to make sure. Three guys brought to us by Gomart. Get yourself that Gomart rewards card. You can just download the app. Go to Gomart, save on the food and the fuel. Take advantage of all those specials, like buy one, get one, do one. It's perfect. Big candy really in its glory right now as we head toward Halloween. Three guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. And don't forget about the water machine for your workplace.
Yeah.
The water's hot, cold, ice. They got it for you. Stop doing the plastic. Three guys brought to us by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They simply won't take no for an answer. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value way beyond the numbers. Conley CPA. All right, that's it. 667 episode is done. Back with you. Have a good week. We'll see you.